La 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 la. Okay, so, ready?
Yep.
I held it in my hands while he told the story. He had found it in a fallen bunker, a book for notes, and all the pages blank. He took it to keep for a sketchbook and diary. He learned years later when he showed the book to an old bookbinder who paled and stepped back, a long step, and told him what he held. What he had laid the days of his life in. It's bound, the binder said, in human skin. I stood, turning it over in my hands, turning it in my head. Human skin? What child did this skin fit? What man, what woman? Dragged still, full of its flesh, from what dream? Who took it off the meat? Some other one who stayed alive by knowing how to do this? I stared at the changing book. A horror grew. I stared, and a horror grew. Which is, how beautiful it was, until I knew.
The poem in the book is comprised of 7 stanzas. Stanzas 5 and 6 are comprised of only rhetorical questions, where in stanza 5 the narrator questions where the skin's from, and in stanza 6 when the narrator questions who did it. The separation of the words human skin in stanzas 3 and 4 are used to give them more meaning. Repetition is also used a few times in this poem. As in stanza 4, the narrator repeats turning it over in my hands and turning it in my head. It's also used in stanza 7 when the narrator repeats I stared and a horror grew twice, and when the narrator uses which was and which is right next to each other. And it seems that stanza 7 is the only stanza that rhymes, when the narrator rhymes grew and knew. From the title of the poem, nothing much can be anticipated in a title as normal as the book, but we come to find otherwise. The speaker is a person being told a story by a man who found a book, and is just as clueless as we are. The speaker is being told a story of the book they hold in their hands. The man telling it found it in a bunker and used it as a diary and sketchbook, to come to find out from the bookbinder that it was made from human skin, and the speaker is horrified. Stanzas 5 and 6 contain plenty of rhetorical questions to show what exactly the speaker was thinking when they received the revelation. In stanza 3, it says he laid the days of his life in the diary, showing how much he poured into the diary and how much it meant to him before he knew what it was made of. It's ironic how he wrote his life story within the skin of another person. The saying, "Don't judge the contents of a book by its cover," is flipped on its head, and in this case, "Don't judge the cover by the contents of the book" works much better. The diary is a nice accounting of the man's life, when in reality, the cover is far more horrifying. For the majority of the poem, the speaker talks in an uneasy tone, questioning where the skin was from. The tone shifts in stanza 3 when the bookbinder reveals that it was made of skin. The tone goes from an easy tone to an uneasy tone. Reconsidering the title, the book has a greater meaning. The book contains the memories of a man, but the skin of another. The theme of this poem is ignorance is bliss, and awareness is horrifying. The speaker didn't know and wouldn't have cared about what the book was made of, perhaps only interested in its contents. This goes too for the man who wrote in it and now looks back and sees his memories as terrifying. The horror doesn't come from the horror of it being made of human skin, but it comes from the narrator being horrified of themselves after seeing the beauty of a book proved otherwise.